everyone, it's Dr. K, Writing Under Oath. Welcome to my YouTube channel and to my website of the same name. Please visit and submit a serious theory of nonfiction. I have a lot to talk about, starting with a course I'm teaching, American Literature 2. We have come to the section on poetry, 19th century poetry, and we are talking about the genre of poetry called imagism. Essentially, imagism in poetry is the simple process of painting an image, like a little painting. It was influenced by haiku, and the essential inventor of imagism is Ezra Pound. Ezra Pound wrote what is considered to be the first imagist poem. It's very short, like a haiku, and it goes like this. In a station of the metro, these faces in the crowd, petals on a wet black bough. And that's the poem. The title of the poem is In a Station of the Metro, and the title could be considered a stanza in the poem, actually. And when I do this poem with my students, I have to explain it to them. I'd like to think that there is at least one student in the classroom who can figure it out. After all, it's just an image, and it's packed with metaphor, but it's very easy to unpack that metaphor. Imagine Ezra Pound in London, and he's in the metro, what is our subway system, and he's at the top of the stairs, ready to walk down onto the platform. In Europe, especially Paris and England, the staircases to the train platform are extremely steep. So there he is, and let's say it's rush hour. So the station platform is packed, and he's looking down on the faces, and he sees a sea of faces, and they're all packed together. Those are the faces in the crowd, and he compares them to petals on a wet black bough. A bough is the branch of a tree. Petals could be white or other colors, mixed colors, and he's comparing the ovals of the sea of faces that he sees to petals on a tree. And they're wet in order to create contrast, make the petals stand out, gleam or glisten. And they're branching off on a tree exactly as you might see them on a tree just after a rainfall. So he's just giving us the simplest possible image, a sea of oval faces that look like oval petals, flower petals, on a tree branch after a rainstorm. Petals are all packed together, just like the faces in the crowd. I think it's fairly easy to unpack that metaphor, but even after I do so, many students have difficulty seeing it. An imagist poem is something that you see. It's not something that you have to figure out, like the old romantic poems, the scholarly poems, the academic poems, in which you have to know centuries of history in order to understand. It's lovely for that reason. It didn't last long as a genre in poetry. It was phased out with a form of poetry called objectivism, another type of poetry called vortism, eventually by postmodernism, when the experiments in poetry, experiments with language and form and alliteration and structure became so complicated that they were, again, very difficult to understand. That's all for now. Much more later. Thanks for listening, everyone. Dr. K, writing under oath.